And just like that, the baseball season is one game closer to being over as the Dodgers take game 3 in Yankee Stadium. Have my reactions or hear my reactions on this episode of the Scho-Zone. All right, everybody, welcome to the Scho-Zone. It's your host, Ryan Schofield, coming at you live from the Degensen. Yeah, we're doing the live thing again. Apparently, well, give it a shot. People like watching me play blackjack live. Apparently, no one wants to watch me talk about sports since there's nobody in here, but this is kind of impromptu and is probably not as exciting because you're going to watch a bunch of other people say this, but had some thoughts about that game that I really had some thoughts on the whole entire World Series and figured while it's all still fresh, let's just let it rip. It's not the way you want to watch a game go down. I mean, what everyone's going to be talking about is the strike 3 call that happened, which set up, it prevented a really good moment. We could have had Juan Soto, who has been red hot for the Yankees or been really carrying them, him and Stanton, through the playoffs. And, I have the picture of it. I'm going to make us a thumbnail. Hopefully it doesn't get taken down because I just literally took a freeze frame of a video that I saw. It was the pitch high? Absolutely. It's not a strike. And you don't want to see a game, especially, a World Series game be decided on something like that. But as somebody sent it to me and said, my buddy of mine said, how terrible is this? I did anyone notice that, I don't know that they even showed the swing. I forget who was even up during that at bat. But did anyone notice the swing? I mean, the bat is pretty far. Actually, in the freeze frame, you can almost see it looks like a swing. Was it a called strike or was it a swinging strike? I mean, they didn't even really go for that one. It was just, get out of here kind of thing. But I have to say that might have been one of the things that went against the Yankees on that one is that, it's going to make the case for the robot umps. I hate the idea of robot umps, but, I also hated the idea of the pitch clock. I hated the idea of, actually really just the pitch clock was one I hated. Actually, I still hate the shift being banned, but that's a story for another day. But I mean, it's just probably going to open the case for because I'm sure that, once it happens in the World Series, it's just going to make it that much worse. But it's part of the game, as sad as that is to say, but I can understand how that can go. I mean, first off, Will Smith did do a good job framing that pitch. And again, also, when you have somebody that actually makes an offer at that pitch the way that they did, I mean, it's yes, human error did come into play there. An umpire probably saw the bat, lost track of the ball, then looked at the glove. That's probably my explanation what happened. That umpire was terrible. It's just not even, the fact that the ball hit Ohtani and he didn't know that it hit Ohtani, that's, just an idea of what it is. But let's just be real here. The Yankees lost that series in game 1. I'm just laughing right now as I'm wondering. I was under the impression Garrett Cole was going to pitch game 4. And then I found out that Yale or whatever the hell his name is. I don't really watch the Yankees during the regular season. See, the thing is that I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan, which meant this year I was just a baseball fan because I really wasn't going to support watching that as much as I possibly could this year. And with me being someone that lives in New York, the two teams I watch the least are the Yankees and the Mets. Why? Because I usually just turn on my MLB app and I bounce around from game to game, whatever I have bets on or whatever might be interesting or, any, interesting at-bats or players I might want to watch. And I don't get the Yankees or the Mets on those. So what I have to do is, I don't, go out of that app and go into another one. They've made it much, much more difficult. It would be great if I just had every channel one after another and didn't get blacked out, but that's MLB's, policy, which again, it sucks that you get blacked out as much as you do on MLB.com. It's still, the MLB app for as much baseball as you get if you actually are a baseball fan for, I think, $150. And I share that password with just about everybody in my family. And, it's just a good experience. I mean, my mother thinks she gets it as a Christmas present. It's really for me. And I just let her use my login and then I still get her something else. But it makes me look a little better than my brothers because it looks like I bought her 2 really nice gifts instead of 1. But that's enough about that. Let's just get into the game here. I haven't commented on anything about the World Series. I must say that for me, game 1 was just quite an interesting experience because I'm actually recently started hanging out with a girl who is not from America and really just doesn't know a thing about baseball. And let's just say that at a certain hour of the night, I finally was like, hey, the game's on. And I actually had a same game parlay that I won on game 1. I had Kike Hernandez over, and I remember I actually had Juan Soto under total bases because, DraftKings thought they were going to pull a fast one on all of New York by offering this boosted Juan Soto 1.5 or over 1.5 total bases or 2 total bases at plus 200 odds. I did a little bit of investigating and I talked to somebody that is in a different state than New York, and he's like, we don't have that bet here. So, and they also, I found it a little bit more suspicious that they let me bet way more than they would normally let me bet on that one. So I was actually telling somebody that, hey, I don't think Soto's going to have a good game today for this reason. And then he actually was like, no, 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 I think he is. And then he actually wanted to bet that bet. I let him. I advised against it. The whole point of me telling him about it wasn't to get him to bet on it. It was to say that I think that Soto, the books know something, and Soto only had a single in that game. But, uh, you know, I just don't understand, Garrett Cole, like, when you pay a guy like that and he is the guy that he is, for him to only go 88 pitches in the World Series. I mean, we've just gotten to the point where there was a period of time where the analytics and things certainly helped out baseball. But like I said, in all sports, it's just reached the law of diminishing returns on that one. And then I just still don't understand where, I mean, I use a horse racing analogy kind of in this one, but you don't want to bet a horse off a long layoff. And then for them to bring in Nestor Cortez in the most pivotal moment of the game, hindsight's 2020 on this one, and you get the lefty matchup that you wanted, but it's a result-based business. And when the move that you set up as a manager with Aaron Boone leads to a game walk-off home run, which, by the way, I've never seen somebody react to a walk-off like Freddie Freeman. And Freddie Freeman's a pretty calm, reserved guy. I mean, actually, I remember him being somebody that chirped pretty good at Carlos Gomez way back in the day during that infamous incident in Atlanta when he hit a leadoff home run where he just absolutely fucking just swung and fucking grunted like a motherfucker. And then basically the entire Braves team wanted to fight him around the bases. And then Brian McCann, decided to not even let him touch home plate. But we're talking about the World Series now. We're not going to talk about a fun baseball memory that I still enjoy watching every now and again. There's just certain random plays that I like watching, and that Carlos Gomez home run is one of them. But Freeman, that's just a pose for the ages. It's going to be, the picture that, immortalizes him probably as, I mean, someone was talking to me today whether Freddie Freeman was a Hall of Famer or not before this season, or that people might have their doubts. No, Freddie Freeman's a Hall of Famer. In fact, Freddie Freeman actually might have an outside chance at 3,000 hits, which would probably look good with his regular season MVP and the World Series MVP he's about to win, because hits the walk-off there. He had a triple, which was just a real freak play that, it was a ball that got away from Verdugo in the outfield off the carom, and he ended up with a triple there. But he's been absolutely crushing it. And, Shohei Ohtani, I mean, the MVPs, baseball is just a funny thing. The MVPs non-existent in this World Series for the most part. I mean, Ohtani, he's playing with the injury right now, but, why would, of course, he can still look at 4 pitches to start off the game, but he wasn't going to steal any bases. And I think that was why Trevino might have been getting the start and not Wells, and maybe because Wells, as I said, this was one of the reasons I like the Dodgers going into this series, because the Yankees were literally going to be in a compromised position at the catcher position, which is not a good position to be compromised at. And the fact that, I mean, Wells, much better defensive catcher than Trevino, from what I understand. Again, I don't watch a lot of the Yankees, but Wells has been an automatic out for most of the postseason from what I, have seen. I've been watching them in the playoffs. But yeah, that was, game 2 just never really was really that. I mean, it was competitive for a little bit there. I mean, Soto got the home run, but the Dodgers have just cruised. And, this is just what I thought. I mean, it's one of those things that's unfortunate where, I hate that I have good friends that are Yankee fans. And I also hate that I have good friends that are good Yankee fans, as far as that they're actually good baseball fans. It makes me not feel so bad, though, when I see some of the people that I see that just kind of just come out of the woodwork, once the postseason hits, which is part of the reason I developed my hatred for the New York Yankees at a young age, because I always liked baseball. And then nobody else really did as a kid. And then all of a sudden Derek Jeter came along. And then all of a sudden everybody in my school was rocking a Yankees hat because their parents were for the Yankees. And hey, girls wanted to fuck Derek Jeter. And I totally get that, which, Derek Jeter fucked everybody anyway. So, that doesn't really different conversation, I guess. But just kind of riffing here, just going to kind of carry a little live thing here. We got a couple people viewing here. Thank you for tuning into this one. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff that douchebag podcast hosts like myself say. But no, I mean, I don't want to see that happen there. But I mean, I have to wonder, are the Yankees actually did they make the decision to pitch Garrett Cole tomorrow, or do they just go out, wave the white flag with this, Yeel or Gil? I mean, I don't even know how to say his name. I mean, it looks like Gil, but I know it's not. And the Dodgers are set up for a bullpen game tomorrow, because I was actually thinking, even though I had my original prediction was Dodgers in 6, I was thinking that this series was far from over, because I was looking at that the Yankees were heavy favorites going into this game. I mean, decent sized favorites. Walker Buehler just shows up when it matters, apparently, because he was awful most of the season. And then, just came out there and was lights out for a couple innings. And, you know, anytime that Dave Roberts is out managing the opposing manager, that's never really a good sign. And, you have to wonder too for the Yankees. I mean, I've been seeing fire Boone, fire Boone, fire Boone. I look at maybe the front office looks at this as they're going to, it's despite Aaron Boone's deficiencies, what this series is really going to come down to has been the Aaron Judge no show. I mean, the Dodgers are a deep enough team that they can get away with this. I mean, Stanton has still done what he did, which, by the way, what the fuck were they doing sending him home on that play? I mean, it was he never looked like he even got into a full stride at any point. I mean, I have to imagine that they just had a good scout on Teoscar Hernandez, because that was an awful throw too. It just happened to work out to be the perfect play. But anytime a catcher has to come that far out to make the catch, and it just happens to be that Will Smith made a really swift tag. But I know that, guy on second base hit to the left. I mean, you send just about anybody else on the Yankees but Stanton, I want to say. I mean, Stanton, he's carried you to this point of the postseason, the Stantonian blast that he's had, which, by the way, John Sterling, it's just going to be a sad day. I mean, we lost Vince Scully, not but as far as not having him as an announcer anymore. Vince Scully's still alive, right? Oh my God, I gotta look that one up right now. Jesus, that'd be awful. I bet you should probably know this as a alleged baseball fan here, and this is going to make for some interesting podcasting. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, no, he's dead. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, R.I.P. Vince Scully. But we lost Vince Scully. But John Sterling is still around. And again, I still love John Sterling, the old school baseball thing. But I must say that there's the clip of him. I mean, he's a Yankees fan and a Yankees announcer, and it's great. But the call of him with the Stanton one. I mean, I am one of the most notorious people for thinking that either a running back when he breaks a tackle is gone when he's not, or thinking just anything that is hit slightly hard and in the air is probably going to be a home run. Although I've gotten better with that as I started attending more baseball games. But I never thought that ball that Stanton hit was gone, and it was not even it's like 20, 30 feet in front of the warning track. I don't even think the left fielder had to move for that one whatsoever. But his snow shows, I mean, at this point, it's got to be as much mental as it is anything. And I mean, he's got like the idea that, I know that the Bronx, it's a different vibe, it's a different environment, but the idea that there was even talk whether or not he was going to get booed or cheered at the stadium today, that was just kind of, disheartening, I guess I would say, for the bona fide MVP and, this great slugger that Aaron Judge is. And, I want to see the Yankees get beat when they're playing their best, not when something like that happens. And I mean, are we even talking about maybe, dropping him down the lineup at this point? I mean, all kinds of crazy things, but I still just for the life of me can't imagine that you pay Garrett Cole that kind of money to be the guy, and then you get into the World Series and you pull him in a game that he's in control of. Again, and I was somebody who said that I thought that Jack Flaherty would pitch well in game one, and he pitched good. He did pitch good, but as a fact of the matter, so the Dodgers fans who like to remind me of my previous take on Jack Flaherty is that, he left that game losing. And then that was a game that they definitely should have lost is when it comes down to the last out of the game. And then it ends up there, which, Alex Verdugo made one of the more, it's going to be a forgotten play for the most part, but that was an amazing catch when he ended up in the stands there. But yeah, so for me to be watching that Freddie Freeman walk-off to hit that same game parlay that I had, and for me to be next to somebody who doesn't even know anything about baseball, literally does not know anything about baseball, like me even describing what a home run to her is, I have to you don't realize how much you take for granted if you grew up watching baseball until you try to explain it to somebody that has no idea what's going on. I mean, even just trying to explain balls and strikes. I'll never forget back when I was in college, a buddy of mine was dating a girl who was from the UK. And we were, she was interested in baseball. We were trying to teach her the difference between balls and strikes. This would have been a really horrible game to teach somebody what a ball and a strike is. I don't even think we had the K-Zone at the time back that watched them. That may have just been an ESPN exclusive. But I just remember this girl when we tried to explain, hey, the pitch has to be in a certain area or it's a strike or it has to be in a ball. And this girl asking us, why was that one a ball? Why was that one a strike? That's advanced talk. Those are highly technical. It's like you might as well just be a regular baseball fan there. The other rule that I still will never know whether to explain or not, I think the rule in baseball that most people will probably, more people pretend to know what a balk is than actually know what a balk is. It's just hands down. I mean, I gave up on trying to figure out what a balk was a long time ago. Well, we're kind of, getting off course here on this one. I had the Dodgers in 6. I would still like to see a Yankees come back. I'd like to see the Yankees win game 4. I want to see, something kind of great there. It's just, the idea, and I was just texting with a buddy of mine who's a Yankees fan that, like if they're not going to throw Garrett Cole in game 4, then just what are you even showing up for? Or what's the point of having him on the roster at this point? Again, he threw 88 pitches, he'd be on 3 days rest. And I know that, we're going to go to the fucking spreadsheet. We're going to go to the numbers that say all this, all that, everything. I'm old enough to remember, in 1997, I think it was, when the Marlins had Kevin Brown, and I just lost everybody. Okay, well, have a good night, everybody. But I'm still going to keep going. When Kevin Brown was on the Marlins and he was the ace of the Marlins staff, and Jim Leland just announced right before, he's like, yeah, he's going to pitch games 1, 4, and 7. It's just that, that's what you ask these guys to do. I mean, shit. As my buddy, the Yankee fan, was pointing out, CC Sabathia, he pitched on 3 days rest for a team he knew he wasn't going to be playing for a year later. And, you're far enough into the Garrett Cole contract. I mean, you buy a player like that to be able to win World Series. And if you're not going to give him, with your season on the line, if Garrett Cole is not starting tomorrow, then you just never gave it. You're never tried. That's just the way I look at it. Call me wrong, call me crazy, call me salty old man. I don't care. I just have a hard time dealing with that. If that Garrett Cole may have only thrown 88 pitches when the Yankees made it to the World Series, which they haven't made it in a really long time. Okay. And, yeah. And I mean, like I said, there's just, there's certain fans that, friends of mine, nobody wants to see that happen. I mean, it's easy for me. I mean, I've actually just been saying that I've actually been enjoying the Cardinals not being in the playoffs the last 2 years. It's actually fun to watch playoff baseball and not have the stress and anxiety of that. But to watch baseball for 162 games and it comes down to the 7-game series, it's just such a cruel, twisted fate the way that it works out. And, it's just, it's never fun. And I know that there's quite a few of them out there. I mean, I don't even, there's some I might even want to talk to ever again, for all I know, as far as how, the way they're going to take this loss. But that was, you ruined a chance at a good moment there on a questionable pitch. Like I said, it doesn't help when there was as much of an offer at that pitch as there was, probably disorients the umpire. I'm not trying to give him excuses, but it was a pitch that was almost swung at. So we can't go too crazy. I mean, that bat, did they even show a side angle of that one? I mean, I was kind of bouncing around because the degenerate in me I hit a soccer parlay today, so I had to throw in a little something on the Monday Night Football game. I was hoping for my 1-6 result, which I'll just go on with this one. I don't even bother having my NFL record on here. I'm probably still going to give out my picks just so people can fade them. I said a while back in the season, I can't bet the NFL anymore. I don't watch it, and nor do I care as much anymore. And I got away with one where I really felt good about the Lions against the Vikings. That was a game I did not watch a single minute of and really had no idea what was going on in the game. And it was just looked and saw that I won the game, but didn't realize how dicey that game was. So I was feeling riding high, pretty good about myself. The games being decided by 1-6 points had kind of faded off for a little bit. I was still ahead on the year doing that. So this week, I really, really like the Cincinnati Bengals, and they just completely laid a fucking turd. I mean, maybe the Eagles are a little better than I want to give them credit for. Maybe the Bengals just aren't that good. Who knows? But that was, pretty much all I had for that one. But it's a rough loss there. And I mean, really what I want is the opportunity for, because as I was saying, actually starting this off, Jack Flaherty in Yankee Stadium in a potential closeout game. The way I was looking at going into this one is if the Yankees could win game 3, you get to game 4, where I was thinking that Cole will be on the mound, but either way, the Dodgers have a bullpen game. And with a bullpen game, all it takes is one guy not to show up, and then all of a sudden you got yourself a whole different ball game. I still don't like these bullpen games. I don't like that we use the bullpens as much as they do. And it's really going to start leading to a lot more problems, I think, in baseball, because now, rather than paying these ace starters, you're going to probably just have like one ace per staff. And then you're just going to have a bunch of guys that are like, hey, just throw 100 until your arm falls off. Because guess what? We got a bunch of other guys that do that. We're not going to pay them shit because their arms are all going to fall off. And that's where we're kind of trending towards, I believe, in baseball, which is, it's not fun at all. Really. It isn't. The idea that we've talked about, with some friends of mine, is that let's maybe go to where we have the, 100 pitch minimum, or 6 innings the starter has to go, something along those lines. Something, because baseball is the one sport that is seeing that there has been some issues in their game, and they're trying to put rules into it to try to get it back to where it used to be, because baseball used to be a lot more popular than it is. Football, it's just a fucking, I mean, hats off to Russell Wilson and the Steelers. I think that he's just kind of figured out, if I just throw jump balls, I'm either going to get pass interferences, or George Pickens is just going to go up and grab it over everybody. Daniel Jones just, again, I was on a podcast, which I just posted the clips of, or posted the episode on the Scho-Zone Facebook page, and also on my Twitter, SCHO525, where I made the mistake of actually trying to argue for Daniel, not argue for him as he being a good quarterback. I just said that Trevor Lawrence isn't that much better than him. You really can't get much worse than Daniel Jones at this point. Although I will say the interception that Daniel Jones did throw to end that game and blow the chance of that game ending on 1 to 6 points was pretty much a Trevor Lawrence throw because it was 10 feet over the intended targets. Although it was a throw that he really did not have to make. He could have thrown it out of bounds, but that's Giants are just it was a rough day for New York because usually if you're a Giants fan, you're a Yankees fan, and then the Mets and the Jets fans, they already just they accepted their fate at birth when they decided to make that decision. But if you could get this to where it was game 5, and the Yankees can still get it to game 5. And I look at this as that Jack Flaherty in Yankee Stadium in a potential closeout game, or Jack Flaherty if it was in a pivotal game where it was 2-2. If you've ever seen the movie The Scout with Albert Brooks, Michael Rappaport plays this pitching phenom that he signs, that he goes to make his debut in Yankee Stadium. And before the start, he's screaming, "I need the Lord. I need the Lord." The Lord says people make mistakes, all that stuff. That would be Jack Flaherty pitching in Yankee Stadium. I planned on, as much, even though I love the Dodgers in this series, which I'll get into, I went over it on one of my Blackjack live streams, which, by the way, if you have not been checking out my Blackjack live streams, things are starting to pick up on there. I had almost 1,000 views today, and I had people that actually hung out with me, had some really interesting commentary. I had somebody told me I look racist, which is kind of funny because telling somebody they look a certain way based on how I just looked at somebody calling me, saying I looked racist is the definition of irony. Like, really, I look like I'm racist. That was a funny one to me. As far as that, if you're saying that, and if you're someone that says that, you're really no better than an actual racist, as far as I'm concerned, saying that because someone looks a certain way, they must be a certain way. It's kind of, it's not racist necessarily, but it is very, very prejudiced, I guess would say. They're kind of interchangeable terms. Just a bit of a sidebar rant. It's late at night. I given up the caffeine a little bit, so I'm actually, but not stoned, just tired, I guess, and just ranting like a lunatic into an empty screen with one person watching me. So thank you for sticking with me for all of this one. That's not one of my finer episodes, but had not put anything out there in the actual studio in a little bit. We've been having some guests on. We're looking to schedule some more guests. I've been having a lot of fun doing this and starting to learn the inner workings of the podcast world. I've had to talk to booking agents where I look at this as that this is just all good fun. Maybe part of the reason that the Scho-Zone is only at 185 subscribers is because I don't really have that much professionalism towards it, but part of the reason I have the Scho-Zone is so I can do whatever the fuck I want, and I think I can do that okay. Yeah, but I would say that again, it's just one game at a time, and I would never. I just thought of this horrible idea of that if the Yankees ever came back from 3-0, how unbearable it would be. I'd have to move. I plan on moving out of New York at some point, but I would literally not even be able to be around New York State for a very long time. I'd probably have to, consider deep South or somewhere where the Yankees just don't exist, or I can't find a Yankee fan for the life of me. But the Dodgers, I had to bet them because I cashed out a Dodgers World Series winner or tickets. It might be a winner. I cashed one of those out, which all but sealed the fate of them because I started talking so much shit about them. But again, I said that, who wasn't going to want to watch this World Series when we had the two best players in baseball, and kind of nothing burgers from them. But Freddie Freeman's been the star of the show. I like Kike Hernandez as a long shot for the MVP. That one is not happening unless Freddie Freeman just struck out every at bat to go, and Kike Hernandez, somehow hits like 5 home runs or something. Even still, I think that Freddie Freeman wrapped up the World Series MVP just with that walk off. But yeah, I can't. I have to imagine that the Yankees have to make a change there to getting Cole into that game tomorrow, because you can't go through this series and having that be the only game that he pitched when he left the mound as a winner and then never returned again. That would just be an awful, awful ending to the season, or an awful way for the Yankees to go down, I would say. But, at the other point, I say fuck them because, the Dodgers now make things interesting because I think that they would catch the Cardinals. What do the Dodgers have? They have, all right, this is going to be some other great potting. I should probably have done some more research. They either have 9 or 10 already right now. Dodgers, number of World Series. Let's see. Okay. It's nice when I hate AI, and the one time I don't want is when it's here. Let's see. They've won a total of 7. That's it. Wow. Jesus. They probably won some in Brooklyn too, though. But and which is, by the way, that's actually the kind of funny thing is that's how I ended up a St. Louis Cardinals fan in New York. the story goes that my grandfather apparently was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, and I never met the man, but if he's anything like anybody in my family, we're kind of stubborn. We're kind of a little bit, strange with certain things. And when the Brooklyn Dodgers moved all the way out to LA, St. Louis was always the westernmost baseball city. So that became the Cardinals being the St. Louis Cardinal, or the Schofield family becoming St. Louis Cardinals fans. Probably also helped that they had KMOX, which we could pick up them on the FM radio, which I believe that meant they had Jack Buck and Sam Musial to kind of pass the time at nights, which not a bad way. Me, I was hook, line, and sinker for Ozzie Smith. But yeah, it's sad that the baseball season. I mean, one way or another, the baseball season's over with at the end of the week. But over with on Tuesday. That's gonna kind of I guess I have to start watching. I can't watch the NBA. I'll have to start watching hockey, I guess. It'd be nice to see some more baseball. Nice to see, one of those good Bronx moments. I mean, Verdugo hit a home run that gave a little glimmer of hope on there, but did anyone really think, really what would have been actually the perfect ending to this game would have been somehow ending up with Aaron Judge and a chance to win the game and striking out again. Aaron Judge, I saw the tweets, the tweet of the day, actually. Let me see if I can even pull this one up. It was that, well, that's not something I want to watch right now. There's some awful stuff on Twitter. I'll just say that much. But yeah, here we go right here. I got to do it justice. I got to give this guy the credit for it. So this is the tweet that I am going to be referencing right now. Let's go. We're going to present and share screen. Okay. Yep. Yeah. This is why you have producers. This is, again, maybe why the Scho-Zone is a struggling startup podcast. But that one right there, Aaron Judge. Well, oh wow, there's another. I mean, this is the entire timeline, because freaking, oh god, that one's gonna get a retweet right now. That's gonna be okay. We're gonna piss off some people here, but that's still pretty funny when you get Clayton Kershaw isn't the worst player in playoff history. He just sucks when he places the Cardinals for the most part. But yeah, right there, Aaron Judge batting average in the 2024 postseason 140. Lou Gehrig's batting average in 1939 when he had ALS 143. If you're offended by that joke, you probably were never going to like the Scho-Zone in the first place anyways, but that was that's where we're at with Aaron Judge. It's yeah, it's not good stuff. And it's going to be a long off season where, again, that contract just started not too long ago, and they're going to be stuck. Shout out to everyone in the chat, including the Scho-Zone, who we got here. Keep up the good work on the channel. Appreciate it. And shout out from South Bronx, brother BKL Contreras, AK Sports Entertainment Guy. Hey, man, appreciate having you on there. Again, you're probably one of the Yankee fans I wasn't talking about, that, the bandwagon fans that, just do the shouting. And I'll just say right now, anybody that mentions 27 rings if the Yankees lose the World Series, I just going to preemptively go fuck yourself, because what were you alive for a couple of them? I've reacted poorly sometimes, and I would say that that even with the Cardinals, they were losing to the Red Sox actually just hurt a little worse than losing a World Series type thing when they lost in 2013. I possibly ended a really good relationship because I did not handle that well. But other than that, for the most part, if a sports team, you root for them for the good reasons. You have that little feeling of them. Again, a baseball team is a special relationship, but you really just don't. You can't get too worked up about it. I mean, again, the players, well, maybe the World Series is a little different, but for the most part, the players are getting over losses quicker than the fans are. And it's just, just go out and accomplish something for yourself. Do something that makes you feel good about it. Don't sit there and stew about your favorite sports team, I guess would be the way I'd put it. But again, thank you for the brother brother Bar Contreras. You're awesome for contributing or for saying some nice things about me. And, if you're not subscribed, I'm sure you're already subscribing to this one, but, yeah, I probably won't be making my way down to Yankee Stadium again, unless it's with a group of people. I went down there to the new Yankee Stadium, which is not even that new this year. Until we watch this game, we definitely blow it. Until I got a bit. Fortunately, I agree with you. And yeah, until we watch this game, we definitely blow it. Until I got to be pissed. Yeah, but you let it, like, don't let it ruin your day tomorrow. That's just the whole thing, is that I got to go to work tomorrow. There's going to be a Yankee fan or two that, they're not even Yankee fans. They're just people that just like to say they're Yankee fans, and they're going to get pissed off, and they're going to be, they're going to say shit like, they shouldn't have done this and done that or like that. You don't have to fucking talking about, just fucking the people, like I said, that are the ones that I do know that do care. It sucks. Again, you don't want to see the umpires decide too much. But who knows if that was actually going to matter. I mean, it cost us a good moment, I'll say. We could have had Soto up there, and Tell you what, if Soto fucking hits that home run, I mean, then it becomes the funny thing of that when he doesn't resign with the Yankees, which he probably is going to do anyways. But the amount of money that they would feel compelled to throw at him, but we'll see where we go. It's 3-0. If the Yankees come back from 3-0, no big deal. Besides acting them, I act like them, only just me. Yeah, it is what it is. But I think I've carried a half an hour of mumbo jumbo here. This is not one of my finest performances, but just wanted to have something out there that, again, I'll post the thumbnail. It's going to be the picture of the strike three call with the bat that is possibly swung at. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even remember even that being brought up or considered, but I was also not watching too totally. But everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Scho-Zone, and we'll be back. I got to figure out when I'm going to have my next guests on. People in their sports teams, it's been tough, and now I already kind of went from just doing this as a casual thing to kind of trying to make this a little more official. Balancing my time has been an issue, and then now when you have a lovely lady in your life, all of a sudden, which hopefully I don't fuck that one up like I always do. I have to give her, the time of day. I don't necessarily think that she wants to watch me podcast like this. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of people that want to watch this anyways. But until next time, we'll be hopefully tomorrow. We're setting up again. I would love nothing more than to bet against Jack Flaherty in Game 5 in Yankee Stadium. So even though I have the Dodgers bet, it would also be good to be exactly right when I pick the Dodgers in 6. But until then, everybody take it easy. It's been great being in the Scho-Zone once again. And I am fucking terrible at ending this, but I will just end it once I get my video. All right. We always got to end it on a weird note.